doing that. None of this makes sense. I hate white people. I'm sorry. I do. I hate y'all.
Today on Uncovered, this woman wastes no time to let officers know how she feels about them after getting in a fight with a lifelong friend over $20 and destroying his windshield.
Hold on a sec.
All right, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Nobody not leaving. I'm standing right here.
So, can you just step away over here
Yep,
from
I
me,
sure
sir?
could.
That's okay. No, you can step.
Don't touch
It's not
me.
going anywhere because I'm here.
Like, what
So,
are you talking about?
can you go on the other side of the car for me?
Man, look at my face. He broke my
hold on,
glasses.
hold
Mr.
on.
Yaddy, shut the f up. Shut the f up. Because he making me mad.
Can you? What's going on? You want to walk over
Man,
here?
first of
Hold on,
all,
hold on.
we chill all day, every day.
All right, take it
It
back.
went from
Listen,
him taking me
listen,
to go
ma'am,
pay my
ma'am,
phone bill, sir,
ma'am,
to him trying to hit me, and now we fighting and arguing.
Ma'am.
We pulls back up here. He leaves his phone in the car. So from Rip, when he noticed his phone wasn't in his pocket, he comes back in the car. He's like, you got my phone? I'm like, no. But he knows I have his phone, sir. So then I'm like, hold on. I'm not giving it to you yet. He just started choking and fighting me. So you start choking and fighting me, I kicked the window. What else am I supposed to do? The car little as sir. So it's when he's on this side of the car, I can't do nothing else but kick. Like his mom was sitting right there. But if you asked him, I hit him first. That's if you asked him. You feel me? But it's just like, nah, my glasses broke. You think I care about somebody's phone? I can't see.
You gotta calm down.
No, I'm just mad now. Like, my days never go good, and they're just gonna continue to go bad, bro. If she's taking pictures of me, get this lady before I miss. I'm gonna floor her. I'm gonna run over there and punch her in her face. So stop thinking, look what she's doing, sir.
She's allowed to take pictures. Okay, stop.
The officer's camera falls to the floor as he attempts to prevent the suspect from attacking the accuser's mother.
I'm not doing that. He's recording me.
hand behind your back.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like, you're recording me, sir. You don't have to do all of that with my hand. But you don't have to do that with my hand.
I'm not doing it. Just the way the handcuffs go on.
Recording
This is just the way the handcuffs go on. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Just breathe.
Like, yo, just call your niece. Yo, can you just press this pocket and make sure my phone in here?
Your phone's right here, okay?
Like, who does that? I'm gonna floor her. They might as well just call Alizé, baby, whoever. I'm beating the up.
Hold on. We'll get there, okay?
Because I threw his phone.
So,
They weird. Yo.
Stop. Just relax.
Like,
They're
literally.
not leaving yet, okay?
Yo.
So stand on the sidewalk and wait. Stand on the sidewalk and wait.
Okay.
What's going on?
One of the deputies steps to the side to talk to the suspect's mother.
I literally just walked up, but whatever. Is that what she did? She broke the window?
Well, yeah, I mean, they was going back and forth, so I was in the house. I just
She
heard
lives where?
somebody screaming.
She lives here?
No, the altercation happened in his car.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm assuming they're dating.
No, they not dating. They just f***ing friends, so-called. So I don't understand why they had to have a problem.
So probably criminal mischief then if she's breaking somebody's window.
Yo, I gotta relax. Jesus, please help me because I'm never gonna get through this shit I'm going through if you don't help me. Like, you hit me first, bro.
I understand
like,
that.
I have glasses. He broke my glasses.
Ma'am, I understand that. But you're not going to tell me that you're going to assault someone and then charge past me.
They're sitting here recording me in my face. How am I supposed to feel? You're sitting here with a camera in my face. What am I supposed to do, sir? Like, what is wrong with this on the side of me, bro? I'm getting so mad. I hate everybody.
But just don't let
Ah! He better not be. I better not be the only one getting locked up. I promise you, I better not be.
Can you stop for a second?
The suspect begins to take out her frustration on the officers and makes remarks about their race.
I hate white people. I'm sorry. I do. I hate y'all.
I'm sorry about that, all right? I don't
Just like him. He's official. Put my back.
relax.
Please go put the cuffs on him. Because if you don't, that's some weird right here.
Did you just hear me say that we're not leaving? Okay? But when the police are here, you can't tell me that you're going to assault someone and then push past me to go and try and assault them.
No, I didn't. I threw the phone. I went to go through the phone. Pay attention with your eyes, you stupid out of my face. Please don't stop talking to me. I'm not going to talk to him. He's not nobody that's making me happy. He's not making me happy. I'm sitting right here. That's it. No, go do something with him first, please.
I can't do with him unless you get in the car and sit down, okay?
No, this other police.
Okay, I'll sit here all day and wait for you to
That's fine.
Okay, that's fine. I can't do my job.
That's fine. I'm just
until-
gonna sit here and wait till y'all ready.
And also stacking the Greenwood.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
I already tried to talk. There's nothing to talk about you locking me up. There's nothing else for me to say.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That-
My story
put
won't
that
matter,
aside.
though. My story won't
It
matter.
matters to me.
It doesn't matter right now.
It does
I just
matter.
want him
So-
to get locked up, too.
I
Okay, but-
understand, but I don't
Ma'am.
even know why.
Ma'am, you need to give us the entire story so that we
I
can
just
get
told
there.
you.
Well, you started telling me, and then you did all that. Okay.
I just don't want to talk to him. I'm sorry,
That's
sir.
fine. So don't
He's
talk to
rubbing
me.
me the wrong way. I'm not comfortable telling him to go lock him
hold
up.
on. Why do you want me to go lock him up? Okay?
No, because
just
I'm
got
locked
here.
up.
I understand.
That's why.
That's why you want me to lock him
Yep.
up. Okay.
Because it's not a
why
one.
was-
It's two people that have a baby, right?
Why-
So it takes two people to tangle. It takes two people to fight. It takes two people.
I understand. What did he do to you? Then why am I?
Girl,
here
he
for?
started choking me out, so I kicked his window.
When was this?
Just now.
He was choking you out. Let me see-
Yes.
let me see your neck. How long was he choking you out for?
Not for long, but I was like fighting it back. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Did he stop you from breathing?
No.
Come on. You got a cut on your hand, on your cheek. How'd that happen?
Clearly him. I don't know what my face looks like.
Okay.
I wear glasses. He took my glasses and threw them
Okay, so you started.
and broke them. And I can't even get another pair now. I just want to.
You started arguing with him, and he choked you out. You said. Okay. How long was he choking you for?
Sir, I don't know, bro.
I'm trying to do my job.
I'm
here,
just
though.
mad.
I
Ah!
understand that you're
I
mad.
don't want to talk. I'm sorry. I just don't want to talk. I'm going through mad. My grandma just died. I just don't want to talk. Please.
Sorry for your loss.
Just leave me alone. Oh, why does my day go like this? I gotta get to my daughter's school and everything. Go!
Don't yell at her.
What y'all looking at?
Don't yell. She don't want to hit the.
The deputies repeatedly try to establish the true relationship between the suspect and the male who she got in the altercation with in order to determine whether this is a domestic incident or not. The suspect continues to insist that they are just friends, but this seems to change later on in the video.
I have nothing with him.
You were just dating him or seeing him.
No, this is my friend. Like, it's my everyday friend that I smoke and chill with.
You don't live with him.
No. Hell
Have
no.
had absolutely no intimate relationship.
This has been my friend for years. No, we do not. We don't have no type of sexual intake at all.
You ever live with him or anything?
Hell no. He lives next door to my mom. My mom lives right there. So it's not like I'm intruding anybody's space. We're next door neighbors.
Sure. So then what caused the argument?
Just from this morning, I had like $20 on his Cash App, and he took it off to go pay a bill. And I'm like, who told you to do that when I need that for my phone bill? And that's really where it all stemmed off at, bro.
The other deputies head over to gather information from the male who was involved in the incident.
You got a idea on value for the windshield? Have you had to replace that before?
Yeah.
You know how much it is then?
The windshield was 400, 450, yeah.
450, 400? Okay.
So when y'all gonna get the cuffs on him?
Have you guys ever dated?
No, they're
Bro,
not.
we've been friends for years, for like 4 years now.
Listen.
Since I was old enough to even talk to him. He's 32 years old, I'm only 23.
Did you ever live together?
No, why y'all keep saying that?
Because I'm trying to establish if it's a domestic violence incident.
No, don't say domestic violence. It's just the conversation went left.
Okay.
The mom is always in his business. He's 32 and he still lives with his mom. So of course she's always in his business. Just always. From right when we pulled up, she started calling me, recording me. She even tried to hit me. What the? The mom should get locked up. If I press charges on her, will she get locked up today?
You have to. You press charges on her. We don't arrest.
Right. So what the are we talking about for real? I don't have nothing on me.
I just
Please
have-
don't touch me. I don't want to be touched. I just want to stay here until I get to the station. Touch me at the station. Just leave me alone.
Listen. I have to search you out.
No, don't touch me.
Okay, well, I
Please
have
don't
to.
touch me. I'm not gonna let you touch me, so it's not gonna just be that easy.
I have to search you.
When we get to the police.
We have to do both. It's
No.
a policy. It's a
No.
policy.
Nope. So where's the cuffs on him? I don't see no cuffs on him yet. So there's not gonna be no cuffs on him?
One thing at a time. This is a lot. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on here. So you got to just search it. Make sure you don't have
No,
anything on you.
not yet. No.
All right.
Right.
We'll give you a minute.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm so mad. I gotta get to my daughter's school at 12 o'clock. She's expecting to see me. I'm getting so mad. Oh my
I will
God.
say this though: the sooner we can get all this done, the sooner we
Sir,
get you out. No,
I want to make sure you get in the car too.
Yeah,
It's not a one-man street.
No.
You think his parents gonna be laughing at me? They gonna laugh at their son too getting locked up. This is not funny to me. It's not cool.
No, we're not saying it's cool.
I just lost my grandma. Y'all making me so mad. I want to fight the world. If I ain't had a cuffs on, I'd be gone by now. I promise you. Y'all wouldn't see me. I should have been left. I was telling them to stop before the cops came, but of course, shit didn't happen like that. Like, I gotta get to my kids' school. I'm getting so mad. Like, I'm so mad. I gotta work at 2 o'clock.
Let's get this done so we get you out of here. All right? Let her search you real
Ah,
quick.
no. Where's my mom at? So where's the cuffs at? I'm confused on why he don't have no cuffs on, sir. What's going on?
You see the two officers over there? We're working things out.
Okay, no, work it out. Make sure we both at the place.
Whose phone was that she threw? That was yours? Okay.
That was your thing got knocked off?
Yeah. They're magnetic. They fall off. Do you guys have video out here?
It's off.
It's off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went in there to plug it up.
You guys weren't recording when she...
No, she said we was, but it ain't on.
And what happened? What happened with the car? Explain to me what happened.
I can't do it right now.
I was going in the house, and I realized I left my phone. She was still in. So I come back to get my phone, and it was an issue from there. She had it. That just was it.
So you guys were arguing? You guys were... Run it through it one more time. You guys were arguing, right?
Because I was looking for my phone, and she had it.
And she had it.
I'm all in the car. The car's not but so big, so I know every spot I drop stuff.
Sure, sure.
So I'm searching and can't find it. She has it.
And
So
you
I'm
never...
like,
You never dated this girl?
No.
This is just a friend. That's what she's telling me. You guys
it's not-
never...
it's
You
just-
guys never were romantic at all or anything
Nah.
like that?
You don't live together, nothing?
No.
So here's the deal, bro. She got locked up for criminal mischief for damaging your phone. Okay? It's vandalism. She got locked up for that. I can't press any charges on her for damaging your windshield. Okay? Because I didn't see that happen. I don't have any video of it happening, but you can press charges on her for doing that. All right? So I'm gonna give you a case number so you can press charges on her for destroying your windshield. I would say it's about what, like $500 to replace a windshield. Yeah.
What the is today? It's about weed in my pocket. Like, where's my shit at?
We don't know. You won't let us search you. Can we search you?
The quicker we do this, quicker you'll get out of here.
I just want to leave. I just want to go. So I gotta go to the station and all of that,
You
right?
process it when you get released.
Do you have anything on you that's going to prove
Careful,
something?
191
my
County
phone
Tyrone
just
is
got
negative.
cuts in my arm hurts.
The suspect is searched to ensure she has nothing that can harm the officers as she is transported. During the search, she continues to complain how she finds it unfair she is the only one being arrested.
Alright, you grab a seat and come up.
Bro, he was choking me
All right, relax.
because I'm not paying no fine. I don't have no money for these.
Relax. That's your problem.
I'm so mad, Mom. Like, I'm already going through mad shit just with the icing on the cake.
This is only what I talked about. I don't know. She asked me, what do you think? And I said, probably the same thing
The
that I
other
thought.
officer said he wasn't charging you with criminal mischief or none of that. He said what he was charged with, when you got out of line with, you was trying to push.
Watch your leg.
I wasn't. I was just trying to get away from him.
You can't do that. You know that.
I hate yo, Mom. Alright, just leave me alone, please. I just
The
can't.
deputies finish speaking with the others involved in the incident and inform the suspect that since this isn't being considered as domestic, they can't place the male under arrest, as they didn't witness him doing anything illegal. Upon hearing this, the suspect begins to freak out and admits that there might be something other than just friendship between her and the male.
So listen, okay? We can't lock him up right here. Listen. We can't lock him up right here and right now, okay? Because it's not a domestic incident. Okay, so obviously we got to bring you down. We got to process you. Once we're done with that, okay, there's what's called a strangulation exam that they can do at the hospital. Okay, and if you're willing to consent to that, we can go through that process. And obviously, upon the results of that exam,
Do you hear this? None of this makes sense. The f is he talking about? He talking about go to the hospital. Mom, he's telling me to go to the hospital to do a restraint, something about him choking me. For him to get locked up, I got to do all of that for him to get locked up?
Unfortunately, that's
Y'all
the-
ain't fucking together, so it ain't a fucking domestic violence. That ain't your boyfriend,
Okay.
he ain't your motherfucking girlfriend. So what the fuck can you say? I told you.
We weren't
Get out
here.
the car. You don't listen.
We
Alright,
weren't
just
here
go,
when that
Mom.
happened.
Go
What
ahead.
he's saying is,
All
you
right, go
to the
ahead, Mom.
hospital and say he fucking did something, then they're gonna come back over to the hospital, write the shit up, and then do something. Other than that, they can't do that because it's not a domestic.
But they can clearly see it's a domestic violence. They can clearly see we talk to each other. They can clearly see we fucking mom or whatever they want to say. They can clearly see it.
You're telling us that you weren't.
What are you talking about?
Why do you think
They
that's
go look on the records. This is the second time we got a domestic violence. So what are we talking about for real? Bro, we got the last time she called the cops on us.
I asked you if you were dating. I asked if you were together.
What
I asked
fuck?
all those questions.
Man, I'm not about to be the only one getting locked up. Are you kidding me? And he started.
Listening?
Mom, just go in the house. I'll call you later if I need you to help me. I'll just call you if I need you to help me, Mom.
Have a seat.
Go ahead. I'm probably not gonna need you to help me because when they release, I'll walk home.
Can you hop in the car for me, please?
No,
They don't listen.
y'all gonna have to just beat me to up.
Queen.
Because I'm not going like that. Y'all not about to just do that to me. No.
Because you pushed past the officer. He not arresting you.
All right, cool.
Okay.
I'm not going. I'm not, beat me up. Throw me in the car. Do all that shit I do on TV and they bad about cops. Do it now because I'm not getting in the car willingly. I'm not because that's not fair to me. It's not. We already got a domestic violence charge. So why the fuck would he get locked up too? Why? Make that shit make sense. That's not fair. No. Sir,
okay.
you're the last person I want to talk to. I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want
So
you in
don't
my
talk to me,
face.
but you need to
I'm not
sit
getting
down.
in the car.
You have to get
I'm not. Beat me up. Just beat me up. Throw me in the car. Strangle me. Me up, do what they do on TV and talk about cops. Mom, no, it's not gonna make a difference. He's not getting locked up. No, just go in the house. I'll call you when I get
You
to
making
the
more
hospital.
problems for yourself. Go get this little $20 fucking fine. Go let
Think
the
this
rest of the
$20,
fuck up
please?
and
These
get
girls ain't giving me a $20 fine.
Are you fucking dumb? You're dumb.
Thanks, bye. She ain't gonna help me no way. She ain't gonna help me pay the fine. She ain't gonna help me. Y'all come get her, come get me. I'm gonna be walking from the police station, so it's no help anyway. It's all good. Bye. Just pick up my son at 2 o'clock, please. Cause who knows where the queen to be?
All right, just
No.
I know you don't.
No, just beat me up. No. Y'all gonna have to
You
do
have
all
to
the
stand
extra
up.
No. That's not
This-
fair
this
to me.
isn't CNN,
This is
okay? You're not gonna get that.
Suck my
Get in the-
I'm not doing
Get
that.
in the
Beat
car.
me up.
Okay, get the.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
No.
Come on. Get in the car.
No.
You have to get in the car.
No. And somebody's in the car behind y'all recording. Tell them to stop. What is everybody doing?
Get in the car.
No. No. That's not fair to me.
You don't know.
No.
You gotta get in the car now.
No.
You don't want to.
No.
Get in the car.
No.
You have to get in the car. All right. You're going in the car. Do not kick her. Do not kick her. Take my purse.
Get off the door. Why you trying to hurt me? Trying to hurt me? You pushing the door in, right? Look at him trying to hurt me. Nah, fuck them. They could just hurt me.
Hold on. Give her back. Queen, get in
Man,
the car.
fuck them. How fair is this? No. No. Ow. Ow.
Yeah.
The suspect was transported to the police station and was subsequently booked on criminal mischief, obstructing justice, and resisting arrest. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more never-before-seen arrest footage daily.
I already showed you my ID.
You fit the description of a shoplifter. Turn around, sir.
I paid for my groceries. You're making a mistake, officer.
I said turn around. Don't make this harder than it needs to be.
I'm a Navy SEAL. You don't want to do this.
I don't care if you're a damn astronaut. You're being detained.
The dairy aisle was quiet that Tuesday evening, with only the hum of refrigerators breaking the silence of the nearly empty supermarket. Marcus Webb was there just to buy milk and eggs before heading home after a long day. He wore simple clothes, a black t-shirt, and khaki pants. Nothing that would draw attention. But to the police officer who had just entered the same aisle, there was something about him that seemed wrong. Not what Marcus was doing, but simply who he was. What happened in the next 7 minutes was captured in high-definition video by the supermarket's security cameras. The brutal assault, the blatant lies, the arrogance of a man who thought his badge gave him the right to do whatever he wanted. And when the truth about who Marcus really was finally came to light, the officer realized he had made the biggest mistake of his career. The video would spread across the internet like wildfire, reaching millions of views within hours, and every frame of that footage would be the undeniable proof that would destroy one man's life and validate another's struggle. Before we continue, I want to know where you're watching from. Leave your city or country in the comments. And if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, because stories like this need to be shared, and you won't want to miss what happens next. This case became one of the clearest examples of police racism caught on camera, and the outcome will leave you speechless. Marcus wasn't just an ordinary civilian shopping. He was a Navy SEAL, part of the most elite Special Operations Forces in the United States, with 3 tours of duty in the Middle East, and a drawer full of commendations for bravery. At 34 years old, he had participated in missions that would never be made public, had saved lives under enemy fire, and had dedicated more than a decade of his life protecting a country that, at that moment, seemed not to recognize his worth. But in that supermarket aisle, wearing Civilian clothes and carrying a shopping basket, none of that mattered to the police officer approaching him, with his hand already resting on his weapon. The officer was Derek Hansen, 38 years old, with 12 years of service in the local police department. He had a record that should have raised red flags years ago. 3 complaints of excessive use of force, 2 accusations of inappropriate racial conduct that were dismissed, and a reputation among black residents of the neighborhood as someone who looked for trouble where there was none. His superiors had ignored the signs, filed away the complaints with excuses about misunderstandings and high-pressure situations. Hansen had learned over the years that he could get away with almost anything, as long as there was no clear video or witnesses willing to speak against him. Hansen stopped about 10 feet away and watched Marcus for a long moment. Marcus felt the eyes on him, that familiar feeling every black man knows when being watched, judged, presumed guilty of something for no reason. He didn't turn around immediately, just kept looking at the milk prices, deciding between brands. His cart had only a few items: eggs, bread, fruit, the basic groceries of someone who lived alone and cooked simple meals. Nothing there suggested any suspicious or illegal behavior, but Marcus's military training was already at work, calculating distances, noticing reflections in the refrigerator glass, mentally preparing for what his instinct told him was about to happen. He had faced armed insurgents in combat zones, had navigated life-or-death situations where a second of hesitation meant the difference between coming home or coming back in a casket. And yet, standing in an American supermarket buying groceries, he felt the same kind of tension, the same adrenaline beginning to course through his veins. The difference was that in a war zone, he knew who the enemy was. Here, the enemy wore a badge and swore to protect and serve. Marcus took a deep breath, maintaining the calm he had been trained to keep under extreme pressure, and finally turned to face the police officer, who clearly had no intention of simply passing by him and continuing his shopping. What Marcus didn't know yet was that this moment was being recorded by 3 different security cameras, capturing multiple angles of what was about to transform into one of the most documented and most damning police interactions of the year. Hansen took another step forward, his body language aggressive and intimidating, and opened his mouth to speak the first words that would initiate a sequence of events that would end with his career destroyed, his freedom taken, and his name becoming synonymous with everything wrong with racial policing. Hansen's voice cut through the silence of the aisle with a tone that wasn't a question but an accusation. He wanted to know what Marcus was doing there, as if being in a public supermarket buying groceries was a crime that needed explanation. Marcus responded calmly that he was shopping, keeping his voice neutral and respectful, even as he felt anger beginning to simmer beneath the surface. He had learned early in life that reacting with emotion to this type of approach only made things worse. Years of military training had taught Marcus to control his reactions even in the most provocative situations. But nothing in his combat preparation had prepared him for being treated like a criminal in his own country. Hansen wasn't satisfied with the answer. He moved closer, invading Marcus's personal space in a way that was clearly intentional, using his physical presence as intimidation. The security cameras captured every step, every facial expression, every movement that revealed the officer's true intentions. Hansen said he had received reports of suspicious behavior in the area, an obvious lie he routinely used as justification for baseless stops. Marcus politely asked what kind of suspicious behavior, forcing the officer to specify something that didn't exist. The question was simple and reasonable, but Hansen interpreted it as disrespect, as if a black man questioning him was an affront to his authority that couldn't be tolerated. The expression on Hansen's face changed at that moment. The cameras captured the transformation perfectly, the mask of professionalism falling away to reveal something darker underneath. His eyes narrowed, his jaw tightened, and his entire body assumed a more aggressive posture. He stuttered for a second, trying to invent a specific answer about the suspicious behavior, realized he had no good response, and then quickly changed tactics. Now he was demanding to see identification, his voice rising in volume and intensity as if Marcus had some legal obligation to obey without questioning. Marcus knew he wasn't legally required to show identification in a private store when he wasn't being accused of any specific crime, but he also knew that refusing could escalate the situation quickly. He had seen too many videos of police encounters that ended in violence because someone exercised their constitutional rights at the wrong time with the wrong officer. After a deliberate pause that left Hansen visibly irritated and impatient, Marcus slowly reached for his back pocket to get his wallet. The movement was calculated, deliberate, keeping his hands always visible and moving in exaggerated slow motion to avoid any allegation that he was trying to reach for a weapon or represented some kind of threat. But Hansen interpreted that slow, careful movement as defiance, as if Marcus was deliberately mocking him by moving so slowly. His hand moved quickly closer to his gun, fingers grazing the grip, and he aggressively ordered Marcus to keep his hands where he could see them. Marcus froze instantly, his hand halfway to his pocket, his body completely still, and calmly explained in a loud, clear voice that he was just getting his identification as requested. The contradiction was absurd and was being captured on video from multiple angles. Hansen demanded ID and then reacted with potentially lethal hostility when Marcus tried to provide it. But this was exactly the kind of impossible trap that black people constantly faced in encounters with police. Damned if they complied, and damned if they didn't. Other shoppers began appearing in the aisle, drawn by the obvious tension in Hansen's voice echoing through the store. An elderly woman with white hair stopped her cart a few yards away, watching the scene unfold with growing concern and confusion. She couldn't understand why a police officer was treating someone who was obviously just shopping with such aggression. A young couple, white and in their 20s, positioned themselves close enough to clearly hear every word being said, their faces showing growing shock as they realized they were witnessing a classic example of racial profiling happening right in front of them. Hansen noticed he had an audience now, multiple witnesses watching his every move, and instead of backing down or moderating his behavior, he felt even more pressured to assert his authority. In his mind, backing down now would be admitting he was wrong, would be showing weakness in front of civilians. So he felt compelled to prove he was in control of the situation, that his actions were justified, that Marcus really was a threat or a criminal who deserved this treatment. It was the twisted logic of someone who had learned he never had to admit error, that the badge meant never having to say you were wrong. Marcus finally managed to take his wallet completely out of his pocket, moving even slower now that he knew he had witnesses, and offered his driver's license to Hansen with his hand extended and fingers completely visible. The officer grabbed it roughly, snatching it from Marcus's hand with unnecessary force, and examined it for an excessively long time, as if expecting to find something wrong with it. He checked the name 3 times, studied the photo, compared the address to his current location, looking for some discrepancy he could use as an excuse to continue the harassment. When he found nothing wrong with the identification, Hansen, instead of simply returning it and moving on like any reasonable officer would, he began asking more questions. Where exactly Marcus worked, why he had chosen to shop at this specific supermarket instead of one closer to his registered address, if he had any kind of criminal record, if he had ever been arrested before. Each question was more invasive than the last, each one designed not to obtain legitimate information, but to humiliate and diminish Marcus in front of the witnesses who now watched in shocked silence, unable to believe what they were witnessing. Marcus answered every question with forced patience, explaining that he worked as a security consultant, a half-truth that protected the classified nature of his real work. He didn't mention the Navy SEALs, didn't reveal that he spent his days planning operations that saved lives and protected national interests. To Hansen, he was just another black man who needed to justify his existence in a neighborhood the officer apparently thought didn't belong to him. The elderly woman watching finally spoke up, her voice trembling slightly as she asked the officer if this was really necessary, if he couldn't see that the young man was clearly just shopping. Hansen turned to her with an expression that silenced any further objection. He said he was doing his job, keeping the community safe, and that she should move along if she didn't want to get involved. The implied threat was clear. Questioning his authority meant potentially becoming his next target. The woman backed away, pushing her cart, slowly down the aisle, but not before taking out her cell phone and starting to record. She wasn't the only one. The young couple also had their phones pointed at the scene, capturing angles the ceiling security cameras couldn't reach, recording audio with crystal clarity that would make any later claim that words were misinterpreted impossible. Then Hansen made the mistake that would transform this encounter from common harassment into something much more serious. He ordered Marcus to turn around and put his hands on the dairy shelf. Marcus calmly asked why he was being searched, what crime he was being accused of committing. Hansen didn't answer the question, just repeated the order with more aggression in his voice. Marcus knew he was at a crossroads. He could obey an illegal order without probable cause, or he could refuse and risk the situation becoming violent. He chose a middle ground, complying with the movement, but continuing to clearly verbalize that he was doing so, under protest and without consent for the search. Hansen's hands were rough and invasive during the search, deliberately aggressive in a way that went beyond standard procedure. He slammed Marcus's ribs, pushed his shoulders against the cold shelf, and searched his pockets with unnecessary force while Marcus remained motionless and cooperative. Throughout the process, Marcus kept his voice calm but firm, repeatedly stating for the cameras and witnesses that he had committed no crime, that there was no probable cause for this search, and that he was not consenting to what was happening. He was creating a verbal record that would correspond perfectly to what the cameras were capturing visually. Hansen found nothing during the search because there was nothing to find. No weapon, no drugs, no evidence of any criminal activity. Just a wallet, a cell phone, car keys, and a piece of paper with a shopping list. The lack of anything incriminating should have ended the encounter immediately, should have made Hansen realize he had made a mistake and back down. But instead, the frustration of finding nothing to justify his actions only made him angrier. He grabbed Marcus's arm and spun him roughly to face him again, his fingers squeezing hard enough to leave marks that would be photographed later as evidence. It was at this moment that the situation definitely crossed the line from harassment to physical assault. Hansen shoved Marcus against the shelf with both hands, making dairy products fall and scatter across the floor. The impact made Marcus hit his head against the metal shelf with a sound that echoed through the aisle and made the witnesses gasp audibly. Marcus didn't fight back, didn't raise his hands in defense, didn't make any movement that could be interpreted as aggressive. His military training screamed at him to react, to neutralize the threat. But his civilian mind knew that any movement could be used as justification for Hansen to escalate the violence even further, or even use his weapon. The officer yelled in Marcus's face that he needed to learn some respect, that people like him needed to understand their place. The words were captured perfectly by multiple cameras and cell phones, the racist tone impossible to deny or reinterpret. Marcus looked directly into Hansen's eyes and calmly asked if the officer was finished, if he was free to leave now that the illegal search had found nothing. Marcus's calm seemed to enrage Hansen even more, as if Marcus's refusal to be intimidated or humiliated was the greatest offense of all. Hansen pushed Marcus again, this time with enough force to make him stumble backward and nearly fall. It was then that something changed in the atmosphere of the aisle. The young man from the couple who was recording shouted that this was assault, that they were filming everything. Another shopper, a middle-aged man who had stopped to watch, said loudly that he was going to call the police to report an officer attacking someone without reason. The irony of calling the police about the police wasn't lost on anyone, but it represented a critical shift. Hansen was no longer the only authority present. He now had multiple witnesses willing to intervene verbally and document his crimes. Hansen's expression changed when he realized he had lost control of the narrative. He looked around at the cell phone cameras pointed at him, at the faces of witnesses showing shock and condemnation, and something in his eyes revealed that he knew he had gone too far. But it was too late to back down, too late to make it seem like all of this had been a reasonable misunderstanding. Every second of the last 7 minutes was recorded from multiple angles, and no amount of lies or manipulation could change what those recordings showed. The supermarket manager finally arrived at the aisle, drawn by the shouting and commotion that was disrupting the normally peaceful environment of his store. He was a middle-aged man named Robert Chen, who had managed this establishment for over 15 years and knew most of his regular customers by name. When he saw the scene, Marcus pressed against the shelf with products scattered on the floor, Hansen in an aggressive posture, and multiple people recording on their cell phones, his expression went from confusion to alarm. He calmly asked what was happening, directing the question first to Hansen as a professional courtesy to law enforcement. Hansen immediately began constructing his false narrative, claiming that Marcus had been behaving suspiciously, that he had refused to cooperate with routine questions, and that he had tried to reach for something in his pocket in a threatening manner. Each word was a lie or a calculated distortion of the truth, and Hansen spoke them with the confidence of someone who had done this before and never faced consequences. But This time was different. Before the manager could even respond, the elderly woman who had started recording interrupted, her voice trembling with indignation as she said this was complete lies, that she had witnessed everything from the beginning. The young couple joined her, confirming they had seen and recorded the entire encounter, that Marcus had done nothing wrong or threatening, and that the officer had been aggressive and physically violent without provocation. The middle-aged man who called the police also spoke up, saying he was on the phone at that very moment reporting an assault committed by a law enforcement officer. Hansen's expression went from confident to defensive as he realized that this time the witnesses weren't staying silent, weren't letting his version of the story go unchallenged. Robert, the manager, made a decision that would be crucial for everything that came after. He told Hansen that he had security cameras covering the entire aisle from multiple angles, recording continuously in high definition with clear audio. He offered to check the footage immediately to clarify exactly what had happened. The change in Hansen's body language was instant and revealing. His shoulders tensed, his jaw tightened, and his eyes narrowed with barely disguised anger. He said that wouldn't be necessary, that he had handled the situation and that Marcus was free to leave now. The sudden change in tone caught everyone by surprise. Moments before, Hansen had been aggressively interrogating and physically attacking Marcus, and now he was suddenly saying he could leave as if nothing had happened. Marcus didn't move immediately, understanding perfectly what that change meant. Hansen was afraid of the security cameras, afraid of what they would show, and was trying to end the encounter quickly before more damage was done to his fabricated story. But Marcus wasn't ready to simply let this go. Not when his body still ached from the shoves. Not when marks were forming on his arm where Hansen's fingers had squeezed with brutal force. Marcus calmly asked for Hansen's full name and badge number, information any officer should provide when requested by the public. Hansen hesitated, clearly not wanting to give this information, but aware that refusing in front of so many witnesses and cameras would only worsen his situation. He mumbled his name and badge number so quickly and quietly it was almost unintelligible. Marcus asked him to repeat it louder and slower, which Hansen did with barely contained anger permeating every syllable. Several witnesses noted the information on their phones, creating multiple independent records that would be impossible to contest or make disappear. Robert, the manager, then did something that would seal Hansen's fate. He said loudly and clearly, addressing Marcus but speaking loud enough for everyone to hear, including the security. Cameras that were still recording, that Marcus was welcome in his store any time, that he had been a respectful and peaceful customer, and that the manager would personally ensure that the security footage was preserved and made available for any investigation Marcus wanted to pursue. He also offered to provide a written statement of what he had witnessed and help collect contact information from other witnesses willing to speak about what they saw. This public declaration of support completely changed the dynamic. Hansen no longer had any moral authority in the situation, no longer had the advantage of being the only official representative present. The manager of a respected business had essentially taken Marcus's side against a police officer, a move that required considerable courage, but that Robert clearly felt was necessary given what he had witnessed. Other witnesses began introducing themselves to Marcus, offering to send their video recordings, give their phone numbers for future statements, and express their shock and support. Hansen realized he had completely lost control of the situation. He tried one last time to reassert some authority, telling Marcus that if he had just cooperated from the beginning, none of this would have happened, victim blaming in a way that made several witnesses shake their heads in disbelief. Marcus responded with a calm that was far more powerful than any shouting could be, saying that he had cooperated completely, that he had committed no crime, and that the only person who had broken the law in that aisle was the officer who was now trying to escape the consequences of his actions. The tension in the air was palpable as everyone waited to see what Hansen would do next. For a moment, it seemed he might try to arrest Marcus on some fabricated charge, contempt of cop, or resisting arrest perhaps, vague accusations that officers frequently used when they wanted to retroactively justify their actions. But with so many cameras, recording, with the store manager clearly on Marcus's side, and with witnesses willing to contradict any lie he tried to tell, even Hansen had to recognize that making any additional moves would only dig a deeper hole for himself. The criminal complaint was filed within a week, not through the police department that had shown years of willingness to protect Hansen, but directly through the district attorney's office, which was under immense public pressure to act. The prosecutor, a woman named Sarah Mitchell, who had campaigned on promises to reform how police misconduct cases were handled, had no choice but to take the case seriously, given the video evidence that had already been seen by hundreds of thousands of people. Hansen was formally charged with assault under color of authority, oppressive official conduct, and civil rights violations, charges that carried the possibility of years in prison if convicted. The police department, realizing it could no longer defend the indefensible without completely destroying its public credibility, placed Hansen on unpaid administrative leave while the criminal case moved forward. But this wasn't enough to calm public outrage. Protesters continued showing up, now, demanding not just Hansen's firing, but also calling for the resignation of the police chief who had overseen years of complaints being filed away and ignored. The pressure worked. 3 weeks after the incident, Hansen was officially fired from the department, his law enforcement certification suspended pending the outcome of the criminal trial, effectively ending any possibility of him working as a police officer again in any jurisdiction. The civil lawsuit moved simultaneously, with Jennifer Okonkwo building a meticulous case that went beyond the simple supermarket incident. She documented Hansen's pattern of behavior, presented testimony from other victims of his racially motivated harassment, and most critically, exposed how the police department had systematically failed to respond to complaints about him. She argued the city was liable not just for Hansen's actions that day, but for years of negligence that allowed a racist officer to continue victimizing people without consequences. Discovery revealed internal emails showing supervisors were aware of Hansen's problematic behavior, but chose not to act, fearing battles with the police union, or simply not considering complaints from black residents as a priority. Hansen's criminal trial began 6 months after the incident, and was one of the most one-sided things the courthouse had seen in years. The prosecution presented the security footage and witness videos, which spoke for themselves with devastating clarity. Witnesses took the stand and described exactly what they had seen, their accounts remaining consistent under cross-examination because they were simply telling the truth the cameras had already confirmed. Marcus testified with the same calm he had demonstrated during the incident itself, refusing to be provoked by Hansen's defense, which tried desperately to paint him as somehow threatening or uncooperative. Hansen's defense strategy collapsed quickly when his own attorney realized he had nothing to work with. He tried arguing Hansen had felt threatened by Marcus's physical size, but this was demolished when the prosecution pointed out Marcus was literally shopping with a list in his hand when approached. They tried suggesting Marcus's tone was disrespectful, but audio recordings showed Marcus being polite and respectful, even as his rights were being violated. They tried framing the physical shoves as standard containment techniques, but use of force experts testified there was no legal justification for any physical force to be used against someone who was completely cooperative and posed no threat. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours before returning with guilty verdicts on all charges. The judge, an African-American veteran of the bench who had spent decades watching police misconduct cases, held nothing back in her remarks during sentencing. She spoke about how officers like Hansen betrayed the public trust and stained the reputation of good police who did their jobs with integrity. She noted that victims of his previous behavior who never got justice deserved recognition, and that Marcus was fortunate enough to have the resources to fight back in a way many didn't. She sentenced Hansen to 4 years in state prison, the maximum penalty allowed under sentencing guidelines, sending a clear message that abuse of authority would not be tolerated. The civil lawsuit settlement came shortly after, with the city agreeing to pay Marcus a substantial amount that legal observers estimated to be in the 7 figures. But Marcus had made clear from the beginning that money wasn't his primary goal. As part of the settlement, the city agreed to comprehensive structural changes, mandatory retraining for all officers in implicit bias and de-escalation, creation of an independent civilian oversight board with real power to investigate misconduct, implementation of an early warning system to identify officers with patterns of complaints before they became Hansen cases, and a commitment to make public all-body cam footage of incidents involving use of force within 30 days, unless there were specific legal reasons not to. Dorothy Martinez, the elderly woman who had been one of the first to speak up and start recording, was interviewed by a local news station about the outcome. With tears of relief streaming down her face, she said for the first time in decades, she felt hope that things could actually change, that maybe her granddaughters would grow up in a world where officers like Hansen couldn't hide behind badges while brutalizing black people. Emma and Jason, the young couple whose video had helped catalyze public outrage, spoke about how witnessing the incident had changed their understanding of privilege and responsibility, how they were now more conscious and willing to use their voices and cameras to document injustice wherever they saw it. Marcus used part of his settlement to establish a foundation that would provide legal support for victims of police misconduct who didn't have resources to fight alone. He partnered with Jennifer Okonkwo to create a program that connected victims with attorneys willing to do pro bono or reduced fee work on meritorious cases. The foundation also worked to educate communities about their rights during police encounters, distributing materials in churches, community centers, and schools about how to stay safe while asserting constitutional rights. Marcus rarely spoke publicly about the incident itself, preferring to let the video and court outcomes speak for him, but when he did, he always emphasized he wasn't special or unique. He was just someone lucky enough to have brave witnesses and clear video evidence. Hansen served his sentence in a state prison, where his previous existence as a police officer made him a constant target for hostility from other inmates. He never publicly admitted he was wrong, never genuinely apologized to Marcus or his other victims, never demonstrated any real understanding of how his racism had ruined lives. When released after serving 3.5 years with good behavior, he left the state and disappeared from public view, his Google search permanently dominated by articles about his crime and conviction, his name becoming a case study in police training programs across the country about exactly the kind of officer departments needed to identify and remove before they caused irreparable harm. The supermarket where it all happened became an unintended landmark in the community. Robert Chen, the manager whose quick decision to preserve and share security footage had been crucial to obtaining justice, was promoted by the corporation, which recognized he had done the right thing, even when it would have been easier not to get involved. They installed a small, discreet plaque near the dairy aisle, acknowledging the location as where ordinary citizens became extraordinary advocates for justice through their willingness to witness truth. Marcus still shopped there occasionally, though now he was recognized and often stopped by people wanting to express support or share their own stories of police encounters. 3 years after the incident, a documentary was made about the case and its broader impact on national discussions about policing and accountability. It featured interviews with Marcus, with the witnesses, with Jennifer Okonkwo, and even with some officers from the same department who spoke anonymously about how the case had changed internal culture around how they thought about use of force and racial bias. The documentary ended with a sobering statistic. For every case like Marcus's where video evidence led to justice, there were countless others where no camera was rolling, no witnesses were willing to come forward, no justice was achieved. But it ended on a hopeful note that each case handled correctly made the next one slightly easier. Each officer held accountable, made others think twice before abusing their power. Marcus eventually left his work with the Navy SEALs, not because of trauma from the supermarket incident, but because he had found a new mission that felt equally important. He began working full-time with his foundation, traveling to communities across the country, training people about their rights, speaking to police departments about how unconscious bias leads to encounters like the one he experienced, and lobbying for legislative changes that would make it easier to hold officers accountable who violated civil rights. He had spent over a decade protecting Americans from foreign threats. Now he would dedicate the rest of his life protecting them from domestic threats wearing badges and uniforms that didn't honor what those symbols were supposed to represent. The story of Marcus Webb and Derek Hansen wasn't unique, but the outcome was. Because of cameras that captured truth, because of witnesses who refused to stay silent, because of a manager who made the right choice, and because of a victim who had the resources and determination to fight for justice, this case didn't end with another black man being victimized without consequences. It ended with a racist officer in prison, with policy changes implemented, with a foundation created to help others, and with a message sent that even the flawed system could sometimes work when ordinary people refused to accept injustice as inevitable. Hansen finally backed away, taking a few steps back and trying to compose his expression into something resembling professional calm, but his eyes betrayed the panic he felt beneath the surface. He muttered something about having other calls to attend to, and began to move away from the aisle, but not before casting a threatening look at Marcus that was captured perfectly by the cameras still recording. It was the look of someone who knew he had made a terrible mistake, but still wasn't ready to accept responsibility. The look of a man who blamed his victim for having the audacity not to bow before abuse of authority. Marcus remained motionless until Hansen was completely out of sight, his body finally relaxing from the tension he had maintained throughout the encounter. As soon as Hansen disappeared, the witnesses gathered around Marcus with genuine offers of help and expressions of outrage at what they had witnessed. The elderly woman, who introduced herself as Dorothy Martinez, had tears in her eyes as she apologized repeatedly, as if somehow it was her fault this had happened. She said she had lived in that neighborhood for 40 years and had never seen anything so blatantly unjust and racist happening so openly. The young couple, Emma and Jason, were already uploading their videos to multiple social media platforms with detailed captions explaining what they had witnessed, tagging racial justice activism accounts and local civil rights organizations. Robert, the manager, took Marcus to his office in the back of the store to properly document the incident away from other shoppers. He offered water, ice for the bruise that was forming where Marcus's head had hit the shelf, and a private place to sit and process what had just happened. As Marcus drank water with hands that were finally beginning to tremble now that the adrenaline was wearing off, Robert was already making calls, first to the police department to file a formal complaint against Hansen, and then to his corporate office to inform them about the incident and ensure that the security footage was properly preserved and protected against any attempts at tampering or deletion. The footage was even more damning than anyone could have imagined. 3 different cameras had captured the complete encounter with crystal clarity, showing every shove, every expression of anger on Hansen's face, every moment of Marcus's respectful calm in contrast to the officer's aggression. The audio picked up every word, including Hansen's racist statements about people like Marcus needing to learn their place. There was no ambiguity, no room for alternative interpretation, no way for Hansen to argue he was just doing his job or that he had felt threatened. The cameras showed an innocent black man being harassed, assaulted, and humiliated by a police officer motivated by nothing but racial prejudice. Marcus finally allowed his own emotions to surface now that he was in relative privacy. He didn't cry, but his voice trembled slightly when he explained to Robert that he had served his country for over a decade, that he had risked his life countless times on missions overseas, and yet a police officer had treated him like a criminal for buying milk in a supermarket. Robert listened in silence, his own face showing the anger and frustration he felt at the injustice he had witnessed. When Marcus casually mentioned he was a Navy SEAL, Robert was visibly shocked, the brutal irony of the situation hitting him with full force. In the following hours, videos of the incident began spreading across the internet with impressive speed. Emma and Jason's recording reached 10,000 views in the first 2 hours, 50,000 by the end of the day, and was well on its way to 1 million before the week was over. The comments were almost universally outraged and supportive of Marcus, with people sharing their own experiences of racial profiling and applauding the witnesses for not staying silent. Local civil rights organizations began reaching out, offering free legal representation and support. Attorneys specializing in police misconduct called offering their services, recognizing this was exactly the kind of case with irrefutable evidence that could set important precedents. The police department initially tried their standard response, a generic statement saying they were aware of the incident and would conduct a full internal investigation. But the public pressure was immediate and intense. People didn't want an internal investigation that historically resulted in nothing more than paid leave, and eventually the officer returning to work as if nothing had happened. They wanted real consequences, real accountability, and were willing to maintain the pressure until they got it. Protests were organized outside the police station, not large demonstrations, but persistent groups of concerned citizens holding signs and demanding Hansen be fired and criminally charged. Local. Media picked up the story when the videos became impossible to ignore. Investigative reporters began digging into Hansen's history and discovered what the black community had known for years. This wasn't an isolated incident, but part of a pattern of behavior the department had consistently ignored or minimized. Previous complaints that had been filed away were re-examined in new light, with previous victims now feeling empowered to speak publicly about their experiences now that they had video evidence that they weren't exaggerating or being too sensitive. A woman named Tasha Williams came forward describing how Hansen had stopped her while she was walking home from work 2 years earlier, subjecting her to 20 minutes of humiliating interrogation without cause before finally letting her go, with a warning to not cause trouble in the neighborhood. Marcus, meanwhile, sought medical attention to document his injuries, even though they were relatively minor. The bruises on his arm, where Hansen had squeezed, the small contusion on his head from the impact with the shelf, everything was photographed and documented by medical professionals who could testify about the nature of injuries consistent with physical assault. He also sought out a civil rights attorney named Jennifer Okonkwo, a black woman who had built a formidable reputation representing victims of police misconduct and who saw in Marcus's case not just a client, but a cause that could force real systemic changes. Jennifer reviewed all the evidence, the security footage, the cell phone videos from witnesses, the written statements, Hansen's history, and told Marcus without any ambiguity that he had one of the strongest cases against police misconduct she had ever seen. The video evidence was so clear, so incontestable, that there would be no way for the department or the city to dodge responsibility. She recommended a dual strategy: a criminal complaint against Hansen for assault under color of authority, and a civil lawsuit against both Hansen personally and the police department for civil rights violations, excessive use of force, and failure to properly train and supervise their officers.